Hello children, in previous class we had studied about the ionic compounds, how ionic compounds are formed. Okay, in today's class we will learn properties of the ionic compounds. First property is physical nature. Physical nature. These ionic compounds are solids. These ionic compounds are solids and they are somewhat hard. Okay, this hardness is due to strong force of attraction. Force of attraction between the positive and negative ions. Okay, these ionic compounds are solids and they are somewhat hard. This hardness is due to the strong force of attraction between the positive and negative ions. And these compounds are generally brittle. They are generally brittle, and when pressure is applied, they breaks into pieces. Okay, when pressure is applied, these ionic compounds breaks into pieces. They are somewhat brittle. Okay, physical nature of the ionic compounds. These ionic compounds are solids and they are somewhat hard. This hardness is due to the force of attraction between the positive and negative ions, and they are brittle. They are generally brittle and they will break into pieces when pressure is applied. Okay, we'll see the next. And one more thing, these ionic compounds, they are, we'll see second property, that is flame test. Okay, when these elements, okay, when these when these ionic compounds, they are heated or when they are burnt in non-luminous flame. When ionic compounds are burnt in non-luminous flame, they impart color to the flame. See children, when these ionic compounds, they are taken in spatula and they are burnt in non-luminous flame like this. See here, when they are burnt in or when they are heated in non-luminous flame, they will impart a color to the flame. They will impart characteristic color. They will impart particular color to the flame. Okay, this is the flame test. We are with the help of flame test, we can identify the ions present in the, particularly that is cation present in the compound. Okay, here actually here non-luminous flame means non-luminous flame means it is blue colored flame. Okay, it is blue in color. When we in our kitchen we are using the gas, okay, gas stove, the flame that we observe in while using that gas stove is blue in color. Okay, that is non-luminous flame. Okay, but luminous flame is yellow in color. It is yellow in color, and we'll see the luminous flame. Okay, luminous flame when we burn the wood. Okay, when we burn the wood, we will get a yellow color flame. That is luminous flame. And here, in case of luminous flame is obtained when the fuel is not completely burnt. Okay, but non-luminous flame is obtained. We'll get non-luminous flame when fuel is completely burnt. Okay, flame test should be carried out in non-luminous flame so that we can identify the color imparted by the ions. If we use luminous flame, sometimes we may fail to identify the color of the ions, particular ion. Okay, see here, when sodium chloride is a ionic compound. When this is subjected to, when sodium chloride is subjected to flame test, okay, it will impart golden yellow color to the flame. When we subject this potassium sulfate, okay, it will give crimson color. Okay, when barium chloride is subjected to flame test, it will give green color. Okay, here the golden yellow color is due to this sodium ion. Golden yellow flame is due to this sodium ion, and this crimson color is due to the potassium ion, and this green color is due to the barium ion. Okay, like this, when ionic compounds, they are heated in non-luminous flame, they will impart characteristic color to the flame. If the ionic compound is having sodium atom, then it will impart golden yellow color to the flame. If it is having potassium ion, then it will impart crimson. If it is having barium ion, it will impart green color. Okay, next we will see third property, that is melting and boiling. Melting and boiling points. Okay, when we are carrying out this flame test, if we continue the heating, okay, or on prolonged heating, the salt start melting. Okay, we'll see this melting and boiling points. Here, these ionic compounds, they have high melting point and high boiling point. This high melting and high boiling point is due to the strong interionic attraction. See children, in ionic compounds what happens? There is an attraction between the positive ion and negative ion. Okay. So this attraction, there is an attraction between the positive ion and negative ion, and this attraction is very strong. Okay. This high melting point and boiling point is due to the strong interionic attraction between the positive and negative ions. There is a strong attraction is there. This is strong interionic attraction. Due to this attraction, strong interionic attraction, these ionic compounds, they have high melting and boiling points. So to break this or to overcome this strong interionic attraction, we need to provide the more energy. When we provide more energy, obviously the temperature value will be high. So because of the strong interionic attraction in ionic compounds, they have high melting and boiling points. Okay, they have to overcome this interionic attraction. To overcome the strong interionic attraction, we need to provide more energy. This is the third property of the ionic compounds. We'll see next one. That is solubility. Solubility. Children, we will take sodium chloride, potassium iodide, barium chloride, etc. And we will place this sodium chloride in one beaker, potassium iodide in one beaker, barium chloride in another beaker. Okay, we will place all these three salts in different beakers and we will add 50 ml of water and we will dissolve the salt. Okay, all these salts, they will dissolve in the water. Okay, since they are made up of ions, positive and negative ions. Okay, we know that water is also polar molecule. It is also polar molecule. It means it also ionizes like H plus OH minus. Okay, it ionizes into H plus and OH minus. So it is a polar molecule and these ionic compounds are also polar molecules. So here these polar molecules, polar solute dissolves in polar solvent. Okay, polar solute dissolves in polar solvent. Okay, but non-polar solute dissolves in non-polar solvent. But this polar solute it is not dissolved in non-polar solvent. Examples for the non-polar solvents are benzene, carbon tetrachloride, etc. Okay, but this water is polar solvent. It is a polar molecule. Okay, here this water ionizes into hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion. So it is capable of dissolving the ionic compounds like sodium chloride, potassium iodide and barium chloride. But these ionic compounds, they are insoluble in solvents like benzene, carbon tetrachloride, because, or we can also take that kerosene. Okay, kerosene, petrol, these salts are insoluble because they are non-polar solvents. Okay, the ionic compounds, they are soluble in water but they are insoluble in the organic solvents. These non-polar solvents are organic solvent and this water is polar solvent also. It is polar in nature. Okay, it polarizes or it ionizes into hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion, and it is inorganic solvent. It can dissolve the polar solutes like sodium chloride, potassium iodide and barium chloride. Okay, this is about the solubility of ionic compounds in water. We'll see last property, that is conduction of electricity. Children, see here, we have to perform an activity. Here, this is beaker. Inside this beaker, 2 graphite rods are placed. Okay, and these 2 graphite rods are connected to the battery via switch and bulb. Okay, and one is cathode and another one is anode. Okay, in this beaker we are placing the salt solution of ionic compound. If we can take sodium chloride and we will provide this electricity to this circuit, or we will switch on this, bulb will start glowing. Here this solution of ionic compound conducts the electricity. Children, see here what happens. This is one electrode and this is another electrode, and this electrode is connected to the terminals of battery, and this is bulb. This is bulb and this is switch. Okay, this is negative terminal, this is positive, this is negative and this is positive. This is cathode, negatively charged electrode, and this is anode, positively charged electrode, and these two electrodes are placed in a beaker. Okay, inside this beaker we are going to place the aqueous solution of ionic compound, that is, here we are taking the example of sodium chloride solution. Sodium chloride solution. Okay, here we will, when we switch on this circuit, okay, when we switch on this, close this circuit, this bulb will start glowing, because here this sodium chloride is a ionic compound, and in solution sodium chloride exists in the form of sodium ion and chloride ion. Okay, so here sodium ion and chloride ion. Here these ions, they will start moving towards the oppositely charged electrode. This is one electrode and this is another electrode. This is negatively charged electrode, this is positively charged electrode. Okay, here since this potassium ion is positively charged electrode, it will start moving towards the cathode, that is negatively charged electrode, and all the chloride ions, since they are negatively charged ion, they will start moving towards the anode, that is positively charged electrode, and these two electrodes are made of graphite rod. They are made up of graphite rod. Okay, so here electricity is, here the conduction of electricity, here conduction of electricity is due to the flow of ions of ionic compound towards oppositely charged electrodes, Okay, and these ionic compounds, they conduct electricity only in aqueous solution or in molten state. Okay, these ionic compounds, they will conduct electricity in only aqueous solution or in molten state, because in aqueous solution and molten state, these ions of the ionic compounds are free. Ions are free to move. But what happens in case of solid state? When these ionic compounds in solid state, they do not conduct electricity. Because here ions are arranged compactly. They are not free to move. That's why the ionic compounds in solid state, okay, ionic compounds in solid state, they do not conduct electricity because here the ions are arranged compactly. Okay, so these are the properties of ionic compounds. We will recall these properties once again. Physical nature. Coming to the this physical nature. These ionic compounds are solids and they are hard and somewhat brittle. Okay, when we next one, that is flame test. These ionic compounds, when they are burnt in non-luminous flame, they will impart characteristic color to the flame. Okay, that particular flame color indicates the presence of a particular ion. With the help of flame test, we can predict whether which kind of ion or which ion is present in a particular, or which cation is present in a particular ion. It is easy to predict whether the given compound is having which type of cation or which cation. It is the flame test, and this flame test is applicable to only that sodium, potassium, calcium and barium ions, and it is not applicable for all other ions. See here, and next property is that melting and boiling points. These ionic compounds, they have high melting and high boiling point. It is due to the strong interionic attraction. Sometimes questions may be asked like this: why ionic compounds they have high melting and boiling points? The reason is because they have to overcome the strong interionic attraction. Therefore, their melting and boiling points value are high. And coming to that next one, solubility. Okay, here these ionic compounds, they are soluble in water. Okay, they are soluble in these ionic compounds they are soluble in water, but they are insoluble in solvents like kerosene or petrol. They may ask why. Give reason. Okay, here because water is these ionic compounds are polar in nature. Similar, therefore, these polar solutes can be dissolved in only polar solvents. Okay, but these kerosene and petrol, they are non-polar. So polar solutes, they cannot be dissolved in non-polar solvents. That's why they are not soluble in solvents like kerosene, benzene and petrol. Okay. And last one is conduction of electricity. Here aqueous solution of ionic compounds or molten ionic compounds, they can conduct the electricity because here the ions are free. They are free to move. Okay, here conduction of electricity is due to the, here conduction of electricity is due to the movement of these ions. When these ions are not moving, when they are fixed in a particular place, there is no conduction of electricity. It happens in case of solid ionic compounds. In solid ionic compounds, all the ions are fixed in a particular position. They are not free to move. That's why solid ionic compounds, they do not conduct electricity. Question may be asked like this: why only aqueous solution of ionic compounds conduct electricity? Why not solid ionic compounds? Okay, the reason is, for the conduction of electricity, ions must be free and they should move freely in solution. But what happens in case of solids? In solids, they are not free. That's why solid ionic compounds, they do not conduct electricity. In next class,